Alright. Start playing from the saved data. Let's go. Let's have a chat. It's the letter that arrived from Japan this morning. By international post. What else would it arrive by? Carrier pigeon? Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. Ah, it's in kanji. And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Look at that. That's our Susie. Ah, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? Cut above your good self, my dear fellow. Hey. And whom is the one that keeps correcting your deductions? I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume... No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice! You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustached, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache? The mustached man with the mustache. Sure, you know what? He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley. Thank you, Iris. Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. Very deep impression they made on you. Clearly. So what is the startling news? What was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes. It's very interesting, you know. You can tell me as if I wasn't there, which is good, because I wasn't. Ryunosuke was, I wasn't. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago? For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly Might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Ooh, the music cut off. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send the telegram. Oh, that case! Yes! Was very strange, wasn't it? They're gonna just talk around what the case was. Thanks for the context, guys. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. Then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well. Very mysteriously. And then I'm giving him, like, the toddler, like, that story must not be published. Really? I said that? Are you sure? Apparently Iris isn't the only one who needs notes. Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Hey, new dialogue option. Let's go. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. It wasn't passed away, it was fallen ill. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead! According to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about? Oh, he's fully... well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. You're running away from the question is what you're doing. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Yes, he did. He ran away. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only one hiding something here. Saseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! Found them at last. Iris, are they the notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. No idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Oh, are we just going through... Are we gonna just do a case we already did? What? We, the player, are going to go through a case that Runo already did. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. Carriage. That's probably another word for carriage. Taxi. Something like that. Brain is not letting it go. It's a cab. I was right. Okay, 1st of February, 5:30 a.m. Ooh, early. St. Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward. Why is there a creature? There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. No, seriously, why is there... I think not. Oh? You're late! What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. It's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. Ha. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was someone unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Aha. Thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. Why is there a creature? You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back. Her name is, yes, here we are, Miss Green. Pardon me. I'm going to skip over Miss Green, and why is there a creature? Eek! A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo! An enormous mouse! Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. Not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Why is there a mouse? Okay, what's this? This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? Ah, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. It's based off herself, isn't it? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. Confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Picture. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Is there anything interesting over here? Those patient charts, those don't matter. To me, right now. Oh, Miss Green! Hello. Good morning. We've jump scared her. Hello, I'm, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, from the Empire of Japan. Oh no, was it your knife that... Are you the man who... No, I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive. Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. I don't think it was related either. personally. That definitely seems like an unrelated... Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective. About the incident. To be suddenly struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick I couldn't see a thing. It was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly. By none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved that case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I almost said fantastically busy, which would technically be a word that could work. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh, no! We're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. That kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh, no. Oh, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of the Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. How very interesting. Oh no, is it? She's jumpy. Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means. Salubrious. Oh. Conducive or favorable to health or well-being. Including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh, dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder. Narrow Fodder now? If you're looking for Naruhodo, a lawyer, that's me, but... Ah, Mr. Narrow Fodder. Good. This is for you. It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. Mr. Natsume sent a message? To me. Why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? What are you waiting for? Let me see that! Oh! Well, this is most unexpected. Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? You took it from me before I could read it! You crazy man! No. How could I have? Would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? Can we stop using the fancy words for cab? Stop it. I'll hail one at once. Let's go. It was only yesterday that Saseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. Now the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. "7:18 a.m. Oh wow, it was a couple hours. Funky. Whoa! What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased. Without question. He's dead. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court. Yesterday! I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And I'll wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! Not the horrible hair lock, Sholmes! Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you with Mr. Natsume. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Here they are, already. The busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. It's a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or, good morning to you too, sunshine. Can I examine things, or are you gonna get mad at me? Yeah, you'll probably get mad at me. I'll talk to you. Whoa. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspear. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. Bit of a dead loss, as it happens. Oh, or just dead. Mr. Shamspear. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadeb got worried and kicked the door down. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Ah, yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Saseki-san? Victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Oof. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fella looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. I'm getting a notification that I haven't opened a notification in a while, and it wants me to turn off the notifications for that application. I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a goner that long. Body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. So what's up, Natsume? What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So, the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, did you know the victim? Were you friends? Oh, I see that question has made you panic. What's the matter with Saseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But, but did he ever invite me to his room? Never! On my honor, I swear it! What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you've never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there! I see you have decided to come in and be a goober. Let us deal with your drama. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I've managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first... I'm sorry, I inhaled. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering here in the air last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense! Huh? Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please. Pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore? You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exceptions. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. The game is afoot. Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. From the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates... Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper? In fact, yes. Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Fuck. Appears the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul smoke is smoke! London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though, personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Evidently, that's what Sholmes wants you to... That's what Sholmes thinks. Suicide or murder? The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now at the time of the incident, the door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. Delicious soap. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' deduction. The final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Hey, I can do the speaking. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It's quite apparent this man had barely a penny to his name. It's a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. Blech. How extraordinary. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. That's why you're more interested in the taste of candle wax. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. Experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. Something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Ah! I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yeah, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, well, we can correct the deductions, can't we? I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise for Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Course correction. Hold it. Alright. Careful observation reveals the events that transpired. I'm putting it on autoplay for this. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful, indubitably. Why was this soap set so purposefully like the victim's last supper? In fact, yes. Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. You can't deny a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. Yeah, picking soap up with chopsticks would be very difficult. It was swing, and it's across the room. And of course, only 1/2 of the bar of soap is left on the plate. Might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Let us have a fun little look-see.
Take that!
Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other 1/2 of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Says the man who ate soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap, blah blah blah. Poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument, then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. There are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Teacup.
Take that!
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the century. It would appear this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Wow, you're twitchy. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Poison in the tea. Act 2. Where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? Audience will recall death occurred during the victim's last supper. The man dine and die alone. This single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far. We can imagine that shortly before its death, Mr. Shamspear was having a drink of tea. Be nothing remarkable about this. But what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues. Pivot. There's 2 teacups. Gasp. I rotated and now there's another teacup. There's 2 teacups.
Take that!
There were 2 people! Man dine and die alone. This other teacup suggests the answer. There were 2 teacups in the room. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. Gisp. At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Allow me to lift the dale of vote, my dear fellow. You know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction's going. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Now, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Oh, the glasses aren't my clue. First glance, it seems the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I've looked these 3 books initially. Wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gaborio. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. Could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Saseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume claims to have never been here before. Strange. What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Pile of familiar books. I'm sorry, Natsume. Have fun under the bus!
Take that!
Reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are in this room. It's the link to the truth. Sorry. Have fun under the bus. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... Thanks. Was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Sorry. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. I don't believe you murdered anyone. I believe you were there, but I don't believe you killed the guy, okay? Okay. He's probably a bit miffed. Sorry. Sorry. Not again. Not again. Not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. Would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But, wait! Hold your horses. Yes? Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal. What, you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You've had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But... Misery me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. Facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible hairlock Sholmes. Really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside. There's a carriage waiting. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me! Please! Please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please, give him his breakfast for me. And so... his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Saseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Poor guy. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. Yeah, I helped, didn't I? Shovin'. I just corrected your deduction. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson's no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. Ah, and of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garadeb. Yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. Well, let's, play with the teacups. Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. Not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty. That's true. So one was Mr. Shamspear's. The other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. But Saseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Pair of teacups. As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. Strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh, what is it, Mrs. Sato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh. Oh! Oh yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken a few of them just here. Is it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room. Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What, outside? Well, what's on that little ledge? Why do I have to investigate this again? It's so cold outside. I can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night. Would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at the soap. Ah. Do you see in the middle there? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. Probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? What's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Bar of soap. Doop-a-doo. We have acquired a soap. What's this? Looks like part of an envelope, I think. I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? She's right. And yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. We'd better take this, just in case. Torn off envelope end. These extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow, they look out of place in this room. It's grim, shady goings-on. This one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think he'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo, or such like. With a chonmaga top knot. Every Japanese man wishes he had a... Oh, you'd look wonderful with one. And you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chonmaga and a sword? You'd probably get arrested. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for the gas as they use it with coins. Ah, I see. Yes, now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here? That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes. Or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Goodness, there's no meter in our office. Oh, I've investigated enough that something's going to happen. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Hi. Inspector Gregson. Back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in a cell again so soon. I'm sure we should probably go and... Hi? Hello? Well, welcome back? Question mark? Are you... Am I seeing things? Did the dead guy just drop his fork and sit up, or am I... That did just happen, right? What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? I don't know, that's the problem. I don't know if he's alive, or if it was just like... You know, the leftover muscle twitches or something that some animals do when they die. Out! Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Okay. Indeed. Oh, happy day. Bump. What? Walking Dead! He wanted to die in a more dramatic fashion, I suppose, than being slumped over a table? I don't know. The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think... yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare? So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. In quotes. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. Well, I mean, he's a dramatic bitch, obviously, so... It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspear did consume poison, as we deduced. But it was more a, It wasn't a death poison, it was a knockout poison. Analgesic? Let me look up that word to make sure I am not... Analgesic. Antalgic. Oh. No, I'm incorrect. Anesthetic. A general anesthetic poison kind of thing. Alright. That certainly was a situation. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? Hello. What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Saseki-san's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me? Could we have a word? Ah! That pose felt very specific. He just ran off. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. A new location has been added. Let's go chat with the Garridebs. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garrideb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It's quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garrideb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrideb? So I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Ooh. He has risen. He is standing. Let's have a chat. This morning's incident must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called out that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Well, better safe than sorry and all that. Oh, were you cold? Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Except that was a sorry situation that you found on the far side of the door. It was. Although apparently he wasn't dead. Close to it, though. Victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right? Yep. William Shamspear. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. So, hard to choose which category Saseki-san would fall into. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. I didn't say it out loud. He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. That could be an interesting AU. Anyway. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. A lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. That's probably why they were having conversations. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspear would have had much in common. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude. Stop reading my mind, maybe. That's rude. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? I don't know, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. The failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garrideb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back. And the chap was up till past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. It was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Miss Sasata? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly. Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean. Uh-huh. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants, is that it? I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? Then how did you know, Mr. Garrideb? The gas, woman! The gas tells me everything! The gas? Oh, 'cause the meter's down in Shamspear's room, so... What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. The gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. I understand that, too. See if I can explain. Let's say if I was to light the gas lamps up here, what do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. That reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. It's like when you plug in like a high-draw device, or device or something, and then one of your other electrical things goes away. Like flickers for a moment. Like you turn on the AC and a light flickers, kind of thing. Might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it? Yes, of course, because everything is connected to a single supply pipe. Although that's usually only on the same circuit, like you turn on the AC and the light flickers. But like if you're turning on an AC in one room and then you're like upstairs in a different room, that light won't flicker. Is that supposed to happen though? It sounds rather undesirable. I know the light flicker thing because my room's light is on the same circuit as an AC. And the AC gets turned on and my light goes boop boop and like flickers briefly. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. Barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. You extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Right, I see. So, by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere? You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening, and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, it's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating. Oh well, nothing to it, really. And I can't really see that it's gonna help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrideb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. You see, he's not spying on them, but he's spying on them. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Mr. Natsume, hi! We're here to help you. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume. Not a ghost. But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you! Now that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible. Oh. I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly, wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? One of these things is not like the others. Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place. Yeah, that might make sense. I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh. Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspear, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Hi, I'm your lawyer. I need an adult. I am an adult. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I am eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. Case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspeare. So you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. Ties in with what Mr. Garrett said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening, at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? I apologize, I will be right back. Alright. Discussing the works of Shakespeare. Apparently. You were discussing the works of Shakespeare. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. Obviously, the answer is Goku. That's who's the strongest. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea? No! Never! Not at all! Forgot about your fucking alliteration. Good gosh. Team Juliet won! That was me! And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it! Categorically! So why are you cursed? Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learnt it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me! They all laugh! Well, to them, guess who's the foreigner? That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, why'd you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no. He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books! And books cost money! A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, is it really so awful? Tell me about the horrible history. How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. I feel like gas. Mr. Garadeb said that, like, the first floor and the ground floor use different amounts of gas. I feel like Saseki's room has a gas leak. You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. I know it, and that's why. I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Susato-san knows how to make the man listen. Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garadeb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. That's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. Must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean, he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come round and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Hi, Gregson. Inspector Gregson. Couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh. Which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Then why did you ask me my preference? You might have heard the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. It's come around now. Yes, we saw it happen all in its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then? I can leave this somber cell? Nope. Sorry. No, that's not on the cards. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean... Sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Ooh. Oof. By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wickedest caitiff. Soseki Natsume. Sorry.
Caitiff.
Hey, I said it right though. A despicable coward. Although one of the other meanings is a wretched or unfortunate man, which I feel suits Natsume better. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! Ah dear. And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. To be continued. Yes, I would love to save. And I believe that the to be continueds are a fantastic place to leave off until Friday. Unless you'd rather see me go halfway through the next chapter part. Because, I mean, I don't really want to be going for... I could, though. I mean, if I hit the next to be continued... fine. I'll at least start the trial. (923) Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. I'm... The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Ooh. That could be a medical thing, you know? Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line! Good morning! Good morning? Yeah, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, it was. Yes, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this! Another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. I believe, technically it was attempted murder. But I suppose you wouldn't be very interested in that, would you? Can't keep coming to court! I mean, obviously you can, because you're here, aren't you? Beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Mr. Natsume, good morning. Yes, morning. So, here we are again. Yes, again. Well, this is awkward. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikatoba Esquires, what's the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, did you? Well, 'cause you just came in here going, hey, I got some bad news for you. If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say. Oh, I am sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Miss Susato. Now, what is it? Well, it seems the prosecution in today's trial. Is it Van Zykes? Is it him again? Maybe. Will be led by Lord Baroque Van Zykes. Van Zykes. Oh no. Oh no. No. Yeah. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Saseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth. Managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter, after all. Something sham spear. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zykes is the prosecutor. Oh no. That even if the person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. You've experienced it firsthand. A man we successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal, right here in the Old Bailey. Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits, and now by the Reaper. Pair of petrifying perils, potentially. Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Yes? I'm innocent! You have to believe me! You, more than anyone now. Don't worry. I mean, I did say, when we were like, oh yeah, you were there in the room, I did say, like, I believe you were here, I don't believe you killed anyone. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Considering Van Zykes. Well, trial scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh, yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best. Oh. If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. That could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zykes were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. Mr. Naruhodo. You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Well said! Swear on this sword at my side, and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free. With honor! Oh, yes! "9:40 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. Again, the vampire allegations, my man. The defense is ready, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my learned Nipponese friend, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. It's not just in my imagination, it's really there. Lord Van Zykes has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. It was some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason, only when I'm defending. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Deep breaths. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Saseki-san's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Absolutely! I had a feeling this larrikin wasn't innocent before. I must say that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right. Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is fetching, actually. Stop flirting! I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick. I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight or the missus will go through the roof. Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict. The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, and that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt. 6 citizens of London chosen at random, or at least that's the idea. Prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. That's not how it works. Or at least that's not how juries work in my non-existent personal experience. Lord Van Zykes, your opening statement, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witnesses to the stand. Off comes the cape. We're getting serious. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself. Witnesses, your names and occupations, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division. Saseki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume? Yes, my lord, sir. Quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. Remember it as if it were yesterday. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough. Believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court. Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. Is strychnine actually survivable? I mean, I assume it is. Wow. Strychnine poisoning is poisoning by strychnine. I don't know. I was looking into whether you could survive it. He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident. Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry or exit from the room, entry to or exit from the room, impossible. Although the victim, Mr. Shamspear, lives to tell tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. Oh yeah. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. It's a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased. Which is why it was such a jump scare when he dropped the fork and sat up. That's right. Everyone present believed that it's exactly what he was. Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. Crime scene photograph. Boop, boop. Now then, Mr. Natsume. Yes? As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious, what's haunted? My lodgings! It's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. Tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances, a woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside, my neighbor was poisoned, and me? What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times. Killed, Mr. Natsume? How? And on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamspear's room, lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out and somebody tried to kill me. You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume. But it's so cold. My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? Yes, I am being melodramatic. Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord, one more conclusive point. Conclusive? Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, has regained consciousness after his ordeal, and he has named the true culprit. A poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief! Order! Order! Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. Can I investigate the teacups? Oh, was there not? This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspear was drinking from. It's stained on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Oh, really? I've never noticed before. You've never noticed? Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. It's the Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture, and most of them are Japanese. But if I look in, this is Natsume was drinking. Unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean. Suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. That feels important. There we go. That felt important. I should investigate the soap, too. It's a bar of soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there was some sort of round disc in this depression just here. A reddish one. Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now, the depression is completely empty. Where could the disc have gone? Huh. Funky. May as well investigate all the evidence, huh? Whoever this opener opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Judging from the angle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed. Miss Susato? I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You can never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never! Alright, that's all that has to tell us. I figure if I look at things... If Soseki-san is innocent, then why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsume, what have you to say to this accusation? That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. Public water at pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never! The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we've heard before. That will do. Thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection? None whatsoever, my lord. Good. Then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now. Yeah. Yes, my lord! Dork. The catastrophic night. It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he? Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. Yes, I see. All seems relatively straightforward. Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they? Why didn't I think of that? Well, as it happens, no. We haven't been able to. Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance? How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed. Huh? The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why? That's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough. The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question. I see. Thank you. The matter is clear. Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. What? You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. Well, we can unseal it, so... In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity. He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Well, how about Gregson tell me more about strychnine?
Hold it!
How long does it take for symptoms to appear, then? According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. Seem to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure. Oh dear, death by poisoning again. It's always so awful. 30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left. Can't deny that. Further degrades alibi. I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. Spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it. Very well, the court will add this report to the court record as evidence. Let's investigate this. Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms. Well, you see it, I don't. William Shamspeare, 31. Ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance having been mixed with the tea the victim was drinking, but no sample could be obtained. The poisoning incident occurred at around 1:30 a.m. Assessed from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have been broken when the man collapsed after the delayed onset of symptoms. Well, that means he took the poison at 1 a.m. right? But great. He went back to his room around 11. So, where'd those 2-hour time discrepancy? Three, even. Can I just... Huh?
Objection.
Mr. Natsume, you say it was 11 p.m. when you left to return to your room, correct? Yes! And Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical report unconditionally? Of course we can. There's no problem with that report, Sunshine. Actually, I think there's a very big problem. Because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony. A chrono what? What are you on about? According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning. And yet, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11. That's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 2.5 full hours after the defendant left? Okay, synchronized panicked noises. The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zykes? Pray, forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hallowed chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you ask? I do hate to chatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea. A phantom? Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report? Yes, at around 1:30.
Objection.
Mr. Natsume brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there is a well-known saying, drink tea while it's hot.
Objection.
And in my country, there is an even more apt saying, there is nothing more refreshing than cold tea. Ugh. It depends on how the tea is altered, I suppose. The point is, there was such a long gap. There may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities. What sort of possibilities, Counsel? Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor. Another visitor? That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend, from someone who has nothing to substantiate it. the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition. You suggest this may have been a suicide, Counsel? It depends on the amount. If he took under the lethal amount of the goo. The goo? The poison.
Objection!
The goo. Mr. Shamspeare has categorically denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection!
But he could be lying. Is something wrong, Lord Van Sykes? I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Carriage? What carriage? It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived. Out! Out, brief candle! Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Who, sir, are you? William Shamspeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I, undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What? What's he doing here? The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed. You're calling him as a witness. Very well, counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself. Happy am I, Shamspeare, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord. But, I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence in perfect English. I will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim. Oh, hey, that guy. So that's Mr. Shamspeare. Who is that other man beside him? I feel sure we've caught a glimpse of this man before. State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses. A writer of words so sweet they do scent the breeze, an inventor of ideas so proud they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare, were the great bard to be recalled to life anew. Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shamspeare. Name's Meterman. Adrian B. Meterman. I work for the Altamont Gas Company, East End branch office. Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh yeah, she's right, it is him. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Saseki-san's lodgings. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Ah! Yes, we spotted him outside Mr. Garadeb's house that morning. And he's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case? So, Mr. William Shamspeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct? Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember that sweet poison that didst cross me and cross mine innocent lips? I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure. Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that me's a seraph, an angel indeed. Thus be I a noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be. Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all. Jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid. They're actually taking this seraph anagram idea seriously. Actually, I think Juror 6 is having trouble hearing. My lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspears doing here? The gas man, I mean. Huh? What? Me? Well, now. Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence? When you suggested the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. Moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar. What? No, I didn't quite say that. This young chin-stroker is here to controvert your wild claims, conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Meaderman? Hang on. No, I'm just here. I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question. One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me, but let the truth be spoken. The truth of that wintry night of my discontent. So we're not really going to hear anything from Meaderman. The snow lay about. My neighbour did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea. But merry, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one else visited his room but that short little round-backed Eastern fella. So why were you... Wait, what did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspeare's room all night? That's right. Of course, the bloke's window is all but blocked up, isn't it? There's a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered through that. Question is, sir, why? Ah, well now, that's because he's on my list. What a piece of work is a man! Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment? What are you talking about? This buzzing busybody hath not part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious words. What you say about me? Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more. Indeed, that is so. And as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime. Ooh, they're gossiping. Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. I guess we'll press things.
Hold it!
To be clear, by neighbor you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume? Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst I call him the man from upstairs. And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room? Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo, did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea. Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes. And we were broiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before. By which I presume he means their discussion about who was the stronger, Romeo or Juliet. I, Shamspeare, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbour played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as would our characters be, to bring weight upon our merry experiment. I dare not imagine the scene. Frailty, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the Eastern art of jiu-jitsu, but ne'er did I dream 'twould be a skill practiced by the comely maiden. Juliet beat Romeo up. This is not helping our case. I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea the accused brought to your room. My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding. Yes, I'm trying to make Shamspeare dramatic. To be fair, he is dramatic. But merry, bitter was his drink.
Hold it!
We stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison made you collapse. This amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. He does not look thrilled about me pointing this out. What? What is it? With witnesses and interpretive dance? Oh, sorry. Let me correct. Blonde witnesses and interpretive dance. The hell you doing? If the defendant had really put the poison into your tea, a 3-hour window of time is something you're gonna have to explain. Gladly. 'Tis an easy task. What? I did drink of the tea, not whilst my guest did tarry, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily, were my lips parched.
Objection!
That doesn't sound normal. No, it doesn't. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldst recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there would be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again, and who was stronger? Mr. Shamspeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker? But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stooped lover of words did attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. We all know what that means. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips at that late hour, naught else. Press.
Hold it!
Tell me more about it. So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal? Dinner? Supper? Ha! Fie on luxury! Fie on gluttony! To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry? I would that my belly were full, no more oft than the sun doth rise. Fuck are you doing? Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say. Night and day I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence it is that there doth naught in my chamber be than the costumes of mine art. That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room. Now I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, was it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere. For I have devoured them all. You've eaten them? Every word be within my skull. Didst thou imagine otherwise? Right. That wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think? Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. You want to know something fun? When I was looking up strychnine, it can also be... You can also get strychnine poisoning from, like, inhaling. It's, can occur by inhalation, swallowing, or absorptions through eyes or mouth. So, it could have been in the air and not past his lips at all. He's outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. Okay, but why?
Hold it!
The windows of that house have all been filled in. A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax. Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap. Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there? For some strange reason, a couple bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well. I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing, as long as there's breath in my body. What's with all the theatricals today? Out of interest, Mr. Meterman. After the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all? No! He never left. He was in that room the whole time, as far as I'm concerned. And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide. How can you be sure of that? The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. Ah, yes. Lucidly explained, counsel. Thank you. Really was. Can't argue with the logic.
Hold it!
Say a short little round-backed Eastern fella. So you can't be sure it was the defendant then?
Objection!
How many other short little round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London? Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap and it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself. And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamspear drink tea together? Nah, sorry. Couldn't say. Why not? 'Cause I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? But what I did see was the silhouette of that little round-backed fella wearing a pretty dress. And the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match. Tell you, I didn't know what to make of it. Ha. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway. Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question? No question. Gasman's honor. Oh. My lord! Goodness me. Yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up till now. This has gone on long enough. Are you all with me? Yes! Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision? Too right we have. Are you all with me? Yes. Wait, no! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination. Oh no. Terrible. We will find out what the jury's conclusion was on Friday. I know, terrible, awful, but it's been long enough that I have hit a point. I shall cliffhanger you all until Friday. Take that. See y'all then.